here to do my Cricut tutorial. It's not going to be anything too crazy, just the basics on the Cricut machine itself, how to create a basic design in Cricut Design Space and cut it out, and how to apply it to a sign. So I actually decided that for this tutorial, I'm going to do a smaller sign than the one that we are going to be doing in our master bedroom, mainly because I want you guys to be able to see the whole thing while I'm working on it in the camera view. So that one would just be way too big. So this sign Rocco just put together for me. Since we're working on the powder room, I figured it was only fitting to do a sign for that room. And I was on Pinterest trying to find some ideas, and I think I'm going to make it say, "Hello, sweet cheeks." So pretty excited about that. So I'm gonna start by going over the Cricut machine and the materials that we're gonna need for a basic sign. There are multiple different Cricut machines out there, but one of the most popular, I think, and the one that I have here is the Cricut Explore Air 2 machine. I'll just show you around it real quick. So we'll open her up, and you hear it kind of gearing up. We have a dial over here. This just has basic settings for the blade so that the Cricut knows basically how deep to make the cut. Pretty much all I use is custom and vinyl, and sometimes I'll do iron-on. So right now it's set to vinyl because that's what I'm going to be using for the sign. Over here, you have two different clamps. So clamp A is actually for a pen. So one of the really cool things that Cricut can do is actually write for you. So in B, clamp B, we have our blade. So this is the blade that, we just leave it in there. It's just your regular blade that you can cut normal materials with, mostly vinyl, iron-on, anything like that. So here we have the materials that you would need for a basic sign. So the machine, the sign itself, and the vinyl that you're going to be using to cut the words out. I just have here regular black adhesive vinyl that you would just find at Michael's. You can get all of this at Michael's. You can even get yourself a pre-made sign there. Rocco made this one for me, but they have ones that are already like framed and painted, or unfinished ones that you can paint yourself, which makes it really convenient. So this is a Cricut mat. The Cricut machine does come with this mat. It's 12 by 12, so you can fit most of your designs on this mat. There are larger mats. I have a 12 by 24, which you can see over here. That's getting ready for that big sign that I'm going to be doing, but any small sign, the 12 by 12 is all you need. And then this is just a weeding tool. I don't believe this comes with the Cricut machine, but you'll see them right next to the machines in the craft store. You're going to need this if you want to do basically anything with vinyl. Next, I'm going to show you guys the basics in Cricut Design Space. So that's really just where you go on your computer to create your design and how you tell the Cricut what you want to cut out. There's a cord that comes with the Cricut that you can plug into your laptop to connect it that way, or you can do Bluetooth, which is what we do. It's really easy to set up. Once you open up Design Space and select New, this is what it's going to look like. You're just going to have a blank canvas, which you can create your design that you want the Cricut to cut out. Over here along the side, you'll see they have templates and projects that you can choose from already. A lot of that you have to pay for, so I just create my own basic design. They have images that you can select from, but then these are the two that I use the most to create my own designs, the text and the shapes. But for today's project, I'm just going to select text and say you wanted the sign to say, "I love you." Up at the top here is where you can make changes to your text. So if you get a little closer here, you can select font. Cricut has a ton of fonts that you can purchase, but if you go over here to System, it also comes with a lot of fonts. So they have plenty to choose from. A lot of these I've actually downloaded off the internet that I liked. So you would just go to System and pick the font that you want. Say, "I like this font." I actually do like that, that's cute. You can also alter the letter spacing. So say I wanted these letters to be a little closer together. I can just alter the letter spacing and bring them closer together. The Sweet Cheeks is a cursive font. So actually, if I come up close, you can see that these letters, I made the letter spacing very small, so they're actually overlapping. So if I were to cut the design out how it is right now, the Cricut would actually cut each of these letters individually. But it's cursive and I want them to all be one continual piece, especially since I'm using vinyl. So what I'm gonna do is I have this selected. So I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna select weld. And what that's gonna do is literally weld those letters together. So if you'll see, now I'm gonna zoom in and you can see that the line there is gone. This is now just one continuous, pretty cursive vinyl piece. So now that I have the letters how I want and the size that I want them, what I actually need to do now is connect these together. These are two separate text boxes because they were two separate fonts. And I want them to cut out on the Cricut exactly how they are now. So I'll select both of them together, and then I'll come down to this bottom corner and I'll select attach. So what that just did was attach these two text boxes and make them one. Now that everything is exactly how I want it and this is all one design, I can come up here to the top right and there's a green button that says make it. That brings me to this next page, and what it's really just showing you is exactly how the Cricut is going to cut it out on that 12 by 12 mat that you have. The next step is going to be to cut down my vinyl. So now we're actually ready to make our cut. I have the design exactly how I want it, and right now it's showing me exactly where it's going to print. So I'm just going to move it up to the very top left because that is exactly where I have my permanent vinyl. And one thing I also wanted to mention was this vinyl, you want the color side up. So now I'm going to come down here to continue, and you'll see it's trying to connect to the Cricut machine via Bluetooth. Sorry about the paint on my fingers. You'll know that your Cricut is successfully connected to Bluetooth because your power button is going to turn blue. This button is just indicating that the Cricut is ready for you to feed your mat into the machine. So I'm going to come over here, line this up. There's little like tabs here that you put your mat under. I'm going to push it up towards the clamp, and I'm going to select this button and it's going to pull it in. So now we're all loaded for the cut. We'll come back here. You'll see it's set to vinyl, so that's correct. It says tools and material are loaded, so it is ready to cut. This Cricut button is just the go button, so here we go. So you'll know the Cricut is done cutting for two reasons. That button will be blinking, and that will say 100% complete. So what I'm gonna do now is push that button and it's gonna eject my material. So get up nice and close, you can see, cut out my design. So now I'm gonna remove the vinyl from the Cricut mat. And one thing that I didn't actually mention to you earlier was this mat is sticky. So that's how the vinyl sticks to it. So I'm gonna peel it off. I try to bend the mat rather than the vinyl to peel it off. The next step is going to be to remove all of the vinyl that we don't want on our sign, which is this background vinyl, all the stuff that surrounds the letters, and also the middles of the letters. So you'll see the middles of the E's, the middle of the K, and the middle of the O. So now that the surrounding vinyl has been removed, this is where the weeding tool comes in to get all the small parts. Now we actually need something called transfer tape. Cricut sells transfer tape. It looks like this. It's basically just clear one-sided tape, like a big, large piece of one-sided tape. that you would peel this off and stick it over your whole design. So it would take everything off of this background sheet of paper all in one piece. Rocco and I actually prefer to use masking tape because the transfer tape for us tends to be a little too sticky, and it doesn't always leave the vinyl where it needs to be when we peel it up. So we will use just regular masking tape, and I'll actually stick it to my clothes to make it less sticky. You really don't want it very sticky at all, just enough to be able to peel this off. The last step is to just apply it to your sign exactly where you want it, and you just want to press down pretty hard to get the vinyl to stick to the paint. So here's a finished product. I'm super happy with how it turned out. I'm really excited to put it in our powder room, especially with all the updates that we're doing to it. I hope that this Cricut tutorial, kind of sign tutorial, helped you guys and you learned something, and who knows, maybe you'll want to go out and get a Cricut yourself, because this is really fun. And like I mentioned earlier, the craft stores have pre-made signs, so you could always just go to Michael's and pick up a pre-made sign and some stain and some paint and make it look just like this, or exactly how you want it to look. They have all different kinds of vinyl, all different colors. They even have like glitter vinyl. I've made a lot of things like for my child's nursery, baby onesies, all kinds of things like that. So in the future, I might do some other tutorials if you guys are interested with like a iron-on vinyl, creating a t-shirt or a onesie. I'm gonna end this video with some examples of things that I've made in the past, just so you can get an idea of what the Cricut can really do. All of these things that you're gonna see at the end here are very simple. So really just one step, one cut on the Cricut, and I was able to make the final product. So thanks everybody.